Hi, I'm Rachel. Welcome to Life on Purpose. I invite you to join in on this journey to live a life of deep meaning and intention. Welcome, everyone, to the Life on Purpose podcast. Today, my guest is Dr. Zippy. I'm excited to introduce her to you. She is a visionary leader and trailblazer in transformational coaching, and she is the CEO and founder of Zippy Consulting Group. She spearheads a mission to empower leaders to lead with joy. She has a PhD in leadership and certifications as a life and master coach. Dr. Zippy brings unparalleled expertise to the table. At the heart of her approach is a deep understanding of neuroscience, which she leverages to facilitate joy and unleash brilliance in her clients. Through her transformational lens, Dr. Zippy rewires narratives and embarks on a collective journey of empowerment, paving the way for a brighter and more joyful future. And you can just tell from that why I was excited to have her on the Life on Purpose podcast today. And beyond that, Dr. Zippy is my friend. We have had times of conversation together, and she is a wonderful wife and mother of twin girls, and she's just a lovely person. So beyond all of those amazing accolades and things that you have done, you are just a great person. So I'm so grateful to have you on today.
Oh my gosh, I am so happy. I'm so happy and grateful to be here, Rachel. You are doing an amazing job, and I could not be more delighted to be here with you to have conversation, chat, and conversation and water, coffee, whatever it is you're drinking at this time.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Well, I just want to start today with how you got to where you are right now. What is your journey of how you became Dr. Zippy?
Oh, thank you. Well, my journey it depends on how long we got, Rachel. But if you can detect, I have an accent. So I originally come from Kenya, and this year is going to be 20 years for me being in the US. And a fun fact is, I came to the US as a missionary. So I was a missionary, and I was serving at a church, and I was there working in Washington D.C. And then later, I got a full ride to get to do my PhD, and I went all the way to Bowling Green, Ohio, and that's where I did my PhD in education. And after that, I met my husband, who's from Detroit. So I moved to Detroit, and this is where I live right now. So it's been the journey of moving up and down, but all in all, there has been, themes in my life, that have shaped who I am and how I've become. So, as you've seen, I've always been that person um, who loves people. I enjoy being with people. I love seeing people transform. From the time I was young, I've always asked questions. I always want to see why they do the things they do. And that led me. So in education, one of our work in education is to help, um, when I'm, when we teach, we are hoping to teach and help people change behaviors so that they can transform. Transformation is about changing behaviors and becoming, and just getting to your highest potential. So that is why we learn. That the reason we go to school, it's to learn to be better, to be elevate ourselves and get to the next level. But many times I noticed many of us, even me for a while, I learned something, but I don't change behavior. So that it just becomes, so you just learned, you got stuck. But if you're learning right now, I've been working in the corporate world when we're checking why we train people is, first of all, you need to learn so that you know a new thing. But learning is not, we don't learn just for the sake of learning. We learn so that we can change behavior and do better. And then once you do better, in the corporate world, that's when there's results. When you do better, there's results. So which learning become it's actually a business. It's a strategic business move. So that because if you want your ROI to increase, you need to learn so you can change behaviors so that your ROI increases. So I've worked in the corporate world, and that was one of the things I kept seeing. We learn so much. We put in a lot of work in learning, but we're not focusing on changing behavior. So, and that's how I started. I got in, just I'm very curious. So why do we get stuck? And that's some of the things that made me get into that psychology of learning behavior. What we found out really mostly is it's just beliefs. The reason many of us don't change behaviors is just it's a belief that we have. We limit ourselves. It's subconscious. We don't even know. It's not that we're refusing to change behavior, but something is in us that limits us from being able to move forward, even though you know what you need to be doing. So that has fascinated me for a while. And that's how so I started talking to people. I started taking more classes on behavior changes, psychology, coaching methodologies, because I'm a coach. How can I support people to be able to move to the next level? And just really looking at holistic wellness practices. So I sought out mentors. I pursued certifications. I engaged in more learning. I've taken more classes. We're in same classes together. Some of these just to refine my skills and to deepen my understanding on behavior. So that's how I got into this world, and I absolutely love. I am certified as a happiness trainer, and I love working on happiness because I know happiness. When there's one happy person, when you're happy, the energy is lighter. People do work better. Research shows already. If you happy people make $1 million more than unhappy people in their lifetime. Wow. Happy people live 9 years longer than their counterparts. Happier people live 35% healthier. So there's so much. So this work just makes me happy, and you see, I smile. As I shared earlier, it's not that I've always been happy. It's just that I've learned that just like the way I've taken classes to do my PhD or I've taken classes to do my certification, we can all learn to be happy as well. It's a skill like any other skill that we can pursue and learn and sharpen and get that muscle on. So it's not for only those people or only those people who happiness is a skill and it's a birthright and we all can have it. Yeah. So that is what brought me to this work, and it's exciting. It's exciting to know that people can be happy. They can pursue happiness just like any other skill they pursue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about happiness and ask you more about that, but I want to go back to something you said about changing behavior, but that
Yes.
requires changing belief, changing
Yes.
limiting beliefs. What do you see? So you're saying there's some subconscious beliefs that we might not be able to change because we might not be aware of them.
Yes.
How do people become aware of limiting beliefs, and then how do you change them? What are some limiting beliefs that you think people should change?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. If I could I'll just talk about mine. Like, yeah. So your question had many layers. So which one do we start with?
Wherever you want to start.
So, habits, behavior. Uh, when we want to, what we want to do is when we want to change. If a behavior does not become a habit, we go back to our default. And usually we know from science and we know that our default is to keep us safe. Our bodies, our brain, our mind, the work from, back in the day, how we've evolved was to keep us safe. So most of the things that we do most of the behaviors we do, we take the behaviors that are safe because that is the naturally how we are wired. We don't want to do anything that will change or shake anything because that brings up that part, activates that part of the brain that makes you want to flee, fight, fawn, whatever it is. So, so that's why to learn, you have to go over that. But that means you're constantly fighting with your mind to go over it. So that's one of the things. What we want to do is to change, to make small habits so that your mind, so that it's not, your mind is not constantly fighting you. So one of the things we do is to just do this small changes. Just learn, recognize what you're. One of the tools we've learned together, Rachel, is the first tool is notice what you're noticing. So anytime we notice that we are having any kind of restriction, contractive feeling, and contract, when we say, we actually say there are two types of energies in this world. All the energies that are, there is either expansive energy or contractive energy. And expansive is energy that helps you feel lighter, move, flow, happier, joy. It helps you be creative. We all know when you feel you're in an expansive space, you're moving forward. Everything is opened. The channels are open. Your body feels open. You're connecting well with people. And then the contractive is when you're feeling anxious, you're feeling nervous, when you're feeling rage, angry. What are the other feelings you could be feeling? All these negative feelings, those are the energy. So what we want to do is once you notice when you're just doing life, you just notice, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? Because feelings are neutral. They're just feeling. So you feel that, and then you move towards, all the time you want to do is you want to move towards an expansive feeling, because an expansive feeling will help you be more creative, will help you have a better day, will help your health, your mental health, your physical health, everything. So that's how we change behaviors. When um, you start noticing small things that you can do to help you move towards an expansive self, because you don't want to do big changes. We've learned about the atomic habits. You just do small changes. There's a book for atomic habits, and we've read it together. We had it. Just doing small little habits helps you start changing your routine behaviors, and once you start doing that, you'll start noticing behavior changes without noticing that you're changing behaviors. But if you don't notice what you're noticing, if you just move around not noticing what's going on, then you'll constantly be stuck, because our minds are trying to keep us safe, and safe means not moving out, not trying new things, not just keeping safe means staying the same. And that's not what we were created for. We were created for growth, for development, to support, to do things. But so I don't know whether I've gone round in circles. Maybe you might need to ask me another question so that we can veer to the direction we want.
No, that was beautiful. And we recently talked about my one of my personal limiting beliefs of
Yes.
not feeling that I had enough to offer. Like, I don't have those letters behind my name like other people
Mm-hmm.
do. I have different letters behind my name, but
Yes.
comparing me and my my accolades and the things I've accomplished to someone else's, I had that
Mm-hmm.
limiting belief that, "Oh, well, maybe I'm not good enough for that
Yes.
stage," right?
Yes. And many of us, the imposter syndrome, the feeling of you're not enough is something that comes to us, and from probably from our those beliefs were set up in us when we were young. We didn't even know. We didn't realize. And bless our parents, they didn't know better. So many times we didn't, because everyone is trying to keep everyone safe. Like you don't want. because we think safe is better, but really safe is not better. Growth is better. We were created for growth. We were not created to stay safe. We were created to grow and expand. But somehow, those are beliefs we put in. Now I hold myself with compassion when I notice, yeah, I'm feeling like, oh, it's, like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I don't, you said your issue was you don't have the letters. And for me, many times I feel like I have too many letters, so I'm supposed to be this person. And I don't feel like I'm this person. I'm just a person, So it's really noticing that and challenging that, because that's a contractive energy. When you feel like, oh, I don't have letters. No, but who cares about letters? Letters are just letters. Accolades are you we all have something to contribute, and everybody has something, is worthy to be heard and to be seen. And it doesn't matter whether you have a letter, any just because you are Rachel, just because you are born, just because you are breathing, you are worthy, and you are worthy to be heard and to speak and to share your story and experiences on any stage. Any stage. That's what it's for me. It shocked me to think, oh, any stage, like we've decided who are the people who should be speaking. No, anybody, because somebody is waiting to hear you, Rachel. Somebody's life will change just because you spoke. And that's important. So we don't want to stop people from speaking up because they have this. This is a societal thing where we decide who is worthy of speaking. All of us are worthy of speaking. All of us are worthy of sharing our lives, sharing our what we bring, because we all bring so many different skills and talents and beauty and all good things to the world. That's why we are here. We're all supposed to bring and share our skill sets and share what we know with the rest of the world. So that is a limit. So even for me, I have to remember when I'm feeling tight, when I'm feeling like maybe I shouldn't say that. Then I'm like, no, you know what? Somebody might just want to hear that. Somebody just needed that one word. How many times, Rachel, have you had just one word? You went to somewhere and then you just had, and you were like so inspired.
Yes.
Many times it's not the whole service or the whole sermon or the whole speech or the whole, it's just one word that was just waiting to unlock something in you. So so I try and talk, because I teach also, I teach a class on confidence, and which many women talk about imposter syndrome, where they're afraid to speak up in the career. They're afraid to ask for questions because they feel like if I ask, it means I don't know. Nobody knows everything. If you don't ask, nobody will know. You will never know. So you need to ask. And we need to make, I think one of the things I'm trying to do and hoping the more we talk about it is to create spaces, containers that are open for people to be heard and to be seen. And for those who can't speak up, because there are many of us who have not had, like for me, I couldn't speak for a long time also, have people who are allies who will speak up on your behalf, or who will encourage, or who will say, wait for 1 second. Rachel has had a very important point to say, being able to speak up for others, and so that they can be able to come out, so that their message can be heard, because not everyone is bold enough, we are all in different levels of in our journey of evolving, to our greatness. So some people are still nervous. So wherever you are, when you notice someone is is struggling to share their story or their will or their achievements, one of the things I encourage people to do is say, oh, let me talk about Rachel for a minute, because Rachel is awesome, and then just slowly by slowly, when you create spaces where people are talking about others and encouraging others to speak, we'll create a space, a world where nobody's stifled, nobody is trashed because or muted, because everyone has a story. Everybody, I truly believe, the way we look at the trees, they have a story. The grass, it has a story. flowers. Right now it's summer, they have a story. If we just stopped and listened to people's stories, or allowed people to share their stories, then I think we'll create us a world that is so much happier, that is much more creative, and that's my goal. I just want people to be happier. Because when they're happier, it sounds light when you say, I just want people to be happy. Yes, I want people to be happy, because when they're happy, there's a lot of goodness comes out. There's more creativity, um, and the world is better. Yeah.
That that was so powerful. And I
Mm.
think we really got to the key point, whether it's in our relationships or our health or how we want to show up in the world. I think a lot
Mhm.
of it comes down to those limiting beliefs of I'm not worthy or I'm not
Yes.
good enough in those.
Yes.
So, how do we get rid of those? Like what do we replace that with?
Oh, that's a great question. We always, when you think, like for me, I just put affirmations. We talk about affirmations. And when you think, like I have affirmations all over my space just to remind me I am worthy. When I feel I'm not worthy, I remind myself I am worthy. I am worthy to be seen and to be heard. When you feel like so anything that you feel like there's not enough time, then you realize there is more than enough time. Like, anything but the only reason time you can do this is once you notice what you're noticing. So anytime you notice any type of thing and you ask yourself, what am I feeling? Or why am I, what is it? What is this feeling? Then you counter it. And the best part I always encourage people is to write down, because the when you write down, you're using a different part of your brain, which is the more executive function of your brain. And usually the limiting beliefs come from a fear based. So that's usually from the other part of the brain that is more that does the fear of the flight of freeze of flight, that is trying to keep you safe. So when you write down, like you say, you know what, I feel right now, I'm feeling like nobody cares. So that makes me feel afraid to speak up, or that makes me, then you just write. So for me, as in my faith, I'm like, I'll say something like, let the weak say I'm strong. I counter it from the scriptures. When I feel like I'm not strong, I'm like, I have to change what I'm feeling right now it's true, and you validate it. You're feeling it, and it's true. It's not fake. It's a it's a fact. You're feeling like that. But what is the truth? So for me, I have to change what, because I know all life, God has given us beauty. He's given us love. We have everything we need. So when I feel not enough, I have to tell myself, I have to write down like, I have more than enough. I have more than enough. Like I have to tell myself, write it down. I have more than enough. You know, when I came to the US, one of the things I struggled with is because I felt I felt, I'm an outsider. I'm not from this country. I speak different. My voice, people don't understand me. I had to write it down because from scripture it says, wherever your feet step on, I've given you that land. And I had to step on that. I wasn't even a citizen then. I became a citizen much later. But I started putting in my brain, anytime I feel like, oh, I'm an immigrant, I'm an outsider, I will never get the job, because you have to, when I'm applying for jobs, and if you're not a citizen, then it means I was like, no, wherever I step, put my feet, God has given me this space, this land. And again, for me, bringing in my faith, scripture it anchors me, and it helps me, I've written something, I have something I've written over here. In everything I do, I have great success because God is with me. So whatever whatever it is, I have great success because God is with me. And how do I know God is with me? And how do I know God is with you? It's because you're breathing, because we can't breathe ourselves. So if I'm breathing, it means God, He's the owner of breath, is breathing us. And so if He's with me, then I'll be successful in everything that I do. So I hope so that is how I switch my limiting belief when I notice. But you see, the thing is, Rachel, many people don't even realize they have limiting beliefs because they don't notice. They think it's just normal because that's how we've lived. Even me, and as we evolve, we find out other new beliefs we believed, right? So that when you start noticing, you didn't realize about your other belief until you came into this new space, and then you're like, oh my gosh. So the more you do the work, and you keep noticing, that is an amazing tool. Keep noticing what you're noticing. Then you're able to once you feel that energy, you're able to write down and say the counter. You counter what that feeling is, because there's always a positive. There's another way. There's the truth behind it. What you're seeing is just, it's facts, but we have the truth, and that's what we stand on. And the truth is, you are worthy, you are capable, you're able to be there, you are worthy to be here, to be seen, to be heard. And if that is not enough, then I don't know what else is.
Oh, I love that. I hope everyone listening to that really felt that
Yeah.
the realness, the authenticity of those statements of you're worthy, you're capable just because you're breathing. Just
Just because
because.
you're breathing. Yes.
Oh, I love
Yes. Yes. And many times what we just need, many of the things that stop us is not because that, like, the thing you wanted to do, you want to speak on a stage, you can speak on a stage, but the fear comes. So it's not like you are being asked to go do surgery on brain surgery on somebody, because that's a skill you do not know, so you won't even get into. Nobody will be asking you to be in those spaces spaces to do. But the spaces where you feel a longing that you want to do, that is, we know that longing is God living life in you. He wants you to do that. You're being called to do that. And so that's when the fear comes in to try and remind you that no, you shouldn't be. But the thing is, that is when you feel the longing to speak on stage, the longing to do X, Y, Z. Those are the longings that God has put them in you, and you are supposed to be doing them. So, yes.
awesome. Thank you so much for that. I want
Yes.
to switch gears
Yes.
to something you are so passionate about. You have such great energy around happiness. And
Yes.
I love that you gave us reasons, really concrete reasons why we should be happy. It helps
Yes.
our health and it helps our finances and our
Oh, yes.
opportunities. And tell me more about happiness and how we can be more happy in our lives.
I love talking about happiness. So, happiness, many times when we talk about happiness, we talk about, oh, I'll be happy. We talk about circumstantial happiness. I'm happy, or I will be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy when I meet that partner, when I get that spouse. I'll be happy when I get a promotion. I'll be happy when I win the lottery. But research already shows that many of us, actually all of us, I mean, from the scientifically, once you get the spouse, the child, the promotion, you get happy for a while, a little bit, and then you get back to your regular feeling. I know that, where you are looking for a job, you are laid off. I was laid off one time, and I remember staying at home for 6 months, waiting, trusting for a job, waiting, working hard, trying to get it. And then I got a job, and I was so excited. And then after a while, I was like, wah, wah, wah. Like you come back.
Yeah.
You come back. So what we talk about is happiness has a set point, just like a thermostat. Oh wait, I'm sorry. It has a set point. So where generally we get happy, and then we because we got a thing, and then we come back to where we were. And for the longest time, they thought happiness was genetic. Like, the way you ask people, are you half, do you see this as half full or half empty? So most people who feel half full are generally happier than the ones who, because they are more optimistic than the ones who think, and it's true. Our happiness is set for the 50% of our happiness set is determined by our genetics. And then 10% of happiness is circumstantial. And that's the problem with all of us are trying, that's the one we pursue. We are all trying to get the circumstances. We're trying to get the job, the husband, the child, the divorce, whatever it is that you think will make you happy. It's only 10%. And then they found out that 40% of our happiness is because of our behaviors. Okay, our thoughts and behaviors. So for the longest time, so when you look at a pie, 50% is genetics, 40% is behaviors, our beliefs, our behaviors, because our behaviors are determined by our beliefs, and 10% is circumstances. And we all are trying to do the 10%. But now what the study, the epigenetics, that is the study of the genes and the DNA, they have found out that genetics, like our genetics, that's 50%, can be changed by our thoughts and behaviors as well. So our genes are also 50. So that 50% genetic, which we say it's just genetic, can also be changed by our thoughts and behaviors. So 90% of happiness is determined by us. It's us. So you can't just say it's my genes, because your genes, you can change your genes. Your genes, for the longest time, genes have been a cop-out. We just say, I'm just predisposed. Yes. But if you can change your behaviors, you can change your DNA as well. That's what the study has found out. So because of that, for me, that just blew my mind. That's how I got into the story of happiness. I was like, oh my gosh, 90% of happiness is on me. It's my responsibility. And that's the foundation I teach all the time. Knowing or taking full responsibility of your happiness, and not relegating happiness to circumstances, to other people, because the minute you wait for other people to make you happy, then you'll never be happy. You'll constantly be, going back. I mean, we've seen people who gamble and get this big money, and then after a year or so, they come back. They are back to where they are. They're trying to gamble again to get the lottery again. And we've also seen people who have had big traumatic experiences, and they've lost, traumatically lost people they loved. And then after a while, they go into a really dark space, but then after a while, they come back. So that's the set point. So what I talk about happiness is raising your set point so that you always at a space where you are happy for no reason. It's not because you won the lottery. It's not because you got the thing. So raising your set points is the work that we do. Be happy for no reason. For no reason doesn't mean you go around laughing and looking like I'm so happy and so grateful. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking having that just inner peace, that inner peace of where you are. It's generative. You just create. You're in a space of complete gratitude and peace. No matter what's going on, like even if life gives you a knock, you'll go down, but then you'll come back, and you'll come back still at a higher place. You are not in a funk. You're not always in a funk. You'll get hit by life because life is lifing, but then after, you're able to get yourself quickly back to that set point of where you are at, you have inner peace. So that is the work we are doing, and I'm trying to do this with the children, because if we help children as they grow to raise their set points, the more they raise their set point, as you grow older, because life is, challenges become bigger and bigger as you're getting older. So being able to swing back quickly into that set point that is peaceful. That is the work. So I love doing the work. Again, I'll give some. I was at an event this weekend, and one of the, because it had children, we were looking at some of the data. It says by the time children are at first grade, by the time children are going to first grade, they have 80% self-esteem. By the time they're in fifth grade, their self-esteem has already been knocked down to 20%.
Wow.
By the time they're seniors in high school, their self-esteem is 5%. So there's something yes, it's very shocking for, but then it tells you. So by the time, after this speak, some of the girls came to say, and they said, yeah, my self-esteem is not how it used to be when I was younger. And I was like, but we can change this. We can change yourself, because the self-esteem is one of the determinants of seeing whether people are happy or not. Okay. If your self-esteem, and so it's all about changing habits, and changing habits is hard, but it's possible. We can change behaviors by taking just one step every day, just one positive step towards that that raising your set point, your happiness set point.
It's so interesting because I was listening to a book recently that was talking about things that keep us back from feeling good all the time. Like, we can think in our minds, like, oh, we are worthy to feel good all the time. But
Yes.
there are things that hold us back, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't feel happy all the time. Maybe I don't deserve to feel this good
Yes.
because of whatever, right? Because we're
Yes.
comparing, or we're whatever. What barriers do you think hold people back from feeling really happy?
Yeah, that is a great question, because that is, first of all, so just society, just how we've been raised, we feel like you're not deserving. You're not deserving of happiness, because if you're happy, like I think of my, even just small things, like when I call my mom, when she will not just generally come out and say, I'm so happy and grateful, like she'll always find something to say, because it's the norm. It's culturally, many of us, we just have, I don't know whether it's culture, or just culturally, people don't want to sound like they are too happy, because you look like you're bragging,
Hmm.
or you're being boastful, and that is not the case. Being happy, we know that, when you uh, when you come, Rachel, when you're happy, your energy is felt. And in the, what is it, mind health, oh, I'm forgetting the institute, it's one of the institutes in Stanford, and they study, they're studying this part of human health, and we can tell your energy. You can, up to 9 feet away, always, whether we can tell your energy, Rachel, 9 feet away, even if you're not looking at me, because
Wow.
you can tell the energy, the energy and how that emanates from you, because we are energetic. You can tell. You can go into a room. Have you been ever to a room and you can tell, oh, I don't want to be in this space? Then
Yes.
nobody said anything. That is energy. And you can go to a room and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so wholesome. And you just do a beeline, and you can tell people who you want to do a beeline for, because of just the energy they have. So I don't know. I think it's society that has made us feel like if you look like you're too much, you're too happy, then you're odd. And so people don't want to show that which for me sounds twisted right now. I cannot even understand why we do that. So there's those external pressures and expectations, societal expectations, cultural norms. I teach on culture and just how different cultures, how they look at things, and it's from traditions, and sometimes they don't make any sense. The pressures of living up to those unrealistic standards. I know in my place, in my culture, if you're looking too happy, it means you probably have a lot of money, and that means people will start begging you for money. So you try and look like you're not so happy. Because if you're not happy, then nobody's going to be asking you any questions. So
Wow.
those, yeah, I know it's we've had conversations with my friends where he says, I'll just go and look not happy, because if you're not happy, no, you don't bring the energy. People won't come to you asking you for things, because you're looking not happy, you're mad, you create that energy. Another thing that makes people we just have harsh, we don't have compassion on ourselves.
Mm.
We are very critical to ourselves. We are very hard on ourselves, because we were never taught. We were never taught that having compassion on yourself is what is good. So we just that. So you can't even try. People don't want to, or they don't even know. It's not many times. I don't even think it's they don't want to. It's they just are not aware that they can be kind to themselves. They can be compassionate on themselves. They deserve to be kind on themselves. You'll find people will forgive other people, but they won't forgive themselves.
Mm.
They'll, because they don't think they are worthy. I think the worthiness is what determines, our deserving to be happy. We haven't understood our worthiness enough to know that, because I think if anyone understood their worthiness, then many things would be, because if I'm worthy of forgiveness, then I'm able to forgive you easily, because I know you're worthy of forgiveness too, right? When we are compassionate on ourselves, we end up being compassionate people. But we have to start with ourselves. But by society, I think it's just how society has been. It's like we say, if you're doing anything on yourself, it looks like it's selfish. So like the topic of loving yourself or being kind to yourself, you sound selfish. And we celebrate people who are critical to themselves. We found people who are, we say A-type, when someone is like, they carry it as though it's a badge of honor, where they think I'm a perfectionist. People carry that as though it's a wonderful thing. It's not, because that means you are very self-critical, and because you're trying constantly to perfect it on yourself. And because you are so critical on yourself, you'll notice most people who are perfectionists, they really are hard on others in terms of the expectations as well, because that's how they expect for themselves. They're really hard on themselves, very harsh. And that is lack of self-compassion. That is another barrier. That's a big barrier that makes people not be able to move forward to know they're deserving of happiness. And then there's also unresolved trauma, emotional pain from the past, things which are unresolved, and we can't gloss over that, because there are some people who've gone through really deep and dark situations. So there's work to be done there, and then there's also, untreated mental health issues, there's anxiety. All these things add to the things that make us stuck from living in a happy way. So I've talked about, the external pressure, then expectations from the society. I've talked about, I've mentioned, just unresolved traumas from growing up, and then lack of self-compassion. And that lack of self-compassion is just probably just how you were raised. Self-judgment, perfectionism, all those things undermine happiness. Yeah. And then people are in relationships which are unfulfilling, they are in toxic situations, which drains people's energy. So, people who live without boundaries and they, in relationships which have no boundaries, they drain your energy. You've read about the book on the um, um, relational vampires,
Mm.
people who just take your energy, and when you're living like that, you cannot be happy, and lack of connection or conflict in relationships will hinder happiness as well. Yeah, and then also with what was the other thing I would think of that would just fear of change. If you've never known happiness, you don't know what it is, so you'd rather keep to what you know, because even if it's miserable, than venture out into this new thing that is being promised, but you don't know about it. So that fear of change can be it's quite a deterrent to happiness. Some people don't know if just crossing that threshold of fear that they will be happy, but they'd rather stay in the space they are in, because that space they know how to navigate, they know how to do things, even if it's not even if it's crazy stuff. That's how we've seen people saying, even in relationships, because they know how to navigate the crazy. In fact, you find me say, I know this crazy, better the devil I know. I think that's the thing. Better the devil I know than the angel I do not know. So they'd rather stay stuck in that relationship because it's comfortable and it prevents them from experiencing growth and fulfillment. So those are some of the things I would think that would create. Just people should check themselves and see and just wonder, why am I not? Why can I? But what I say is, it's available to everyone. Happiness is available. That inner peace, it's available to everyone. And it's not only available, it's our birthright. We
Mm.
all are uh, created so that we can live in peace. We can grow, because that's the only time you'll be able to create and grow and move and have your being as a co-creator. Because the rest of the time you're constantly trying to hold on to things, and you're not in a creative mode. So
Yeah.
happiness is so critical. It's so critical in living life to the fullest.
Oh, I love that. I want to go back to your example that you shared of from your culture. If someone looks too happy,
Mm-hmm.
then they are afraid that people might start asking them for money. Well,
Yes.
that's not a problem, right? If you are in a good mindset, because you know that within yourself you have your boundaries, you
Yes.
can. But I think people might feel uncomfortable with that, because then if people are asking me for money, then I'm a bad person if I don't give them money. And
Yes.
really, you have to ask those layers, like, why is it a problem if people ask you for money? It's
Yeah.
not a problem
It
at
shouldn't
all.
not be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, but people don't want. So people put these boundaries so that people don't ask them. Like
Yes.
I will look like not happy because,
Yeah.
and then also there is also the place of where people don't want to look happy because they also are addicted to the care. We read that in that book, or the
Yes.
the attention you get when you are sick, or when you're looking, like when you say, I'm struggling with this, and then all this energy, people will be like, oh, I'm so sorry. So some people crave that attention, which is a negative. It's the what is reverse psychology, you
Mm.
know and there's that too as well, where
Yeah.
people will just not look, because when people will call upon just being um low so that they can be asked. Like I can see what actually one of the things I would say is that even just seeing my children. So sometimes one of the children will just start pouting, and she's just pouting because she wants. When she's pouting, I know she wants attention. So as children, that's what they do. But as adults, we kind of pout in a different way because we want attention. So it's another, we get attention when you pout. So you start getting addicted to that attention that you get. And so that's one of the things I was telling my daughter, you can get attention, you don't have to pout. You just need to ask what you need, and we give you what you need. Just recognize what you need and ask for it. Be okay asking for what you need, because we can't read your brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love
yes.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you gave us all these reasons, all these barriers that can keep us from feeling happy. But I love that you're talking about that it's available, though, that all of these barriers we might come up against are no reason to keep
Yes.
us from happiness. So,
Yes.
what do you do when you might wake up in the morning and
Mm.
feel a little bit like, oh, today, I don't know, right? What do you do as the happiness doctor?
Yes, yes. Actually, as I said, today morning I woke up and I was like, man, today, oh my gosh, my back doesn't feel right. Like I could tell I'm in a sort of a funk. There's a like a dark cloud. And that for me, it's okay because it's information. It's just information. So it's informing. So I notice what I'm noticing. I can notice I didn't to jump out of bed feeling amazing. And I was feeling grouchy. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't know. Because life happens. So whatever I say, but because I know that is not the energy I want to stay in, because, I'm a mom. I have to get my kids ready. I have to, like I need to get myself together because so one of the things I've learned from our coach is not get out of bed until you feel a sense of gratitude. Like build gratitude. So I because gratitude is not we've talked. It's not again. It's like happiness. Gratitude is one of the things that show that you are happy when you're because and we're talking about generative gratitude. So I'm not grateful because I'm happy. I'm just not feeling great. But I know that, like I wake up, I feel okay. I am alive. I am breathing. That I'm grateful. So I am so happy and grateful. So like I get into my head and start feeling everything. Those are just the practices I do. I get when my alarm goes off and I was like, I'm like, okay, come on, Zippy, let's do this. You are breathing. You have life. Today is a new day. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. So this is not a suggestion. This is it. And I just get up and I know this is the day that the Lord has made. And I'll rejoice and be glad in it. I go to my room and I start journaling because I remember once you journal, once you're writing, you're using the executive function of your brain, and that sticks. It makes sense. You're not operating on fear, on fight, flight, fawning. You're operating with a very executive function, and that is where I'm leading. That's the direction I'm trying to move because I know from the stats I gave you earlier, happier people do XYZ. They make more money. They live healthy. They, I didn't give one of the stats I read. If you're happy if you're mad or angry or in a contractive space, or the energy I talked about, the contractive restricted energy, for 5 minutes, your immunity is reduced for the next 6 hours. So I'm like, I don't want my immunity to be reduced for the next 6 hours. But the opposite is true. When you're in a expansive state, in a place of gratitude, in a space of peace and energy and expansive stance, your immunity is boosted for the next 6 hours. So I'm like, okay, what do I want for the day today? For the next 6 hours, I want to have a great immunity. So let's do this. So it's something that I do. So I'll do it, but then I've done this for a while. So I know what I need to do. So it's not, I don't need to be cajoled into it. But again, it's the small habits I've practiced over time. So what I would encourage people to do is just start practicing gratitude. Gratitude helps you move to the direction of happiness. So start your day with, journaling. Appreciate the things, the things that you have. Appreciate life. Appreciate your kidneys are working well. I know my friend. I have a friend who they, their kidneys are not working, so they have. So I was like, I appreciate my kid. Like just random things. They sound random, but they really are. So it sets that positive tone, and you start feeling there's definitely something to eat. And then just so for me that, and then recognizing things, so like early in the morning, the quietness, for me, I'm fascinated by it, just that breathing. I love using breath, um breath exercise, and then just noticing the quietness and the vastness of the universe. And then like, another thing is just also self-care. We've talked about, many people have been talking about self-care, and it's become sounds cringy, but it's so important. Nourishing your body with nutritious food, exercise, staying hydrated, things which are basic. They sound basic, but we don't even take care of our body. Your body, like, I like to dance. I put music and I dance, because those, they move your good tonic and hormones, and your body moves. There's a way, it's not, it doesn't feel stuck. It gets into an expansive space, and that energy promotes your well-being, which is your happiness as well. And then just continually learning, connect yourself with people who are um you know who are doing the things that you admire. That's another way we can practice. Like I get energized, Rachel, when we meet on Thursday mornings, just because I know we'll be
Yes.
doing it. For me, I'm like, yes, I want to, like, I wish everybody in this entire world had people they meet constantly, partners who they believe with, because those are the things that will always help you move to the next level. And you'll be surprised how many people don't have accountability partners. They don't connect. So connecting with others it's huge in happiness as well. And then also contributing to others, supporting others, contributing, doing good. Doing good will always make you feel good as well. So I think just consciously um, integrating these practices in your daily life is will nurture that sense of happiness, of purpose, of well-being. Um in 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 I think it's living with intention. Just knowing, one of the things we do with my kids in the morning is, when before they go to school, I ask them, what's your intention for the day? What's your intention? Because wherever you put your intention, you once you think of your intention, you create an energy which directs you focus on it, so the attention goes there. So they'll be like, oh, my intention. So usually we do, the intentions are usually the gifts of the spirit. So that's what I say, I just want to be loved today. Okay, so love, or I'll be kind. My intention today is to be kind. And those are living life with intention is so powerful. So if you decide my intention today is to be happy, then that is what I do. So for me, every day my intention is to be happy and to create happiness around me. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love how you just pour your heart
Oh, thank you.
into life and into the people who are surrounding you. It makes me really think about evaluating, who
Mm.
am I around? And also notice, I just come back to notice what you're noticing. When you noticed you were feeling, "Oh, this isn't my set point. This isn't my
Yes.
natural good feeling self. I don't want
Mhm.
to stay in this." You
Yeah.
took action. You
You
decided
take
to take
action.
action, to do
Yes.
something about it. And I also appreciate that you talked about, it almost sounds like when we keep ourselves low and stifled, sometimes we have a payout of it, because you could have chosen to stay stifled, like, "Oh, today I'm just in a funk." I'm like,
Yeah.
you just need to understand that about me and expect
Yes.
other people to cater to that. There's a payout for that. of,
Yes.
like, pity or other people feeling sorry for you. So I love
100%.
that, yeah, when you don't feel alive and expanded like you've described so
Mhm.
beautifully, when you don't feel that way, we really have to think about, okay, am I getting some kind of payout? Am I getting
Mhm.
some benefit from
Yes.
keeping myself lower? And I think
Yes.
that's the deep work, and I
That
love
is the
that.
deep work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is the deep work because sometimes you want, I mean, even after you've done this work, sometimes you're like, you know what, today I'm just going to stay under the covers because that's it. That's why I don't want to grow. Today is the day I don't want to grow. But again, we know it's your life, it's what you want. Design your life, create your life. Nobody's going to come and live your life. You are the creator of your life. So I've just decided I want to live a happy life. I want to live a more vibrant life. And that's, I know what I need to do to create, to live that vibrant life.
Oh, that's so good. I have one final question for you that I love to end my podcast with. And that is, Dr. Zippy, what are you doing today to live your life on purpose?
Oh, I love that question. Today, first of all, as I said, today I chose to be happy. Even though I woke up not feeling everything that I had all the reasons to feel not happy, but I woke up and chose to be happy. So I'm taking responsibility of my happiness, and that's what one of the things I'm doing today, taking responsibility of my happiness. And I came onto this podcast, and I'm hoping that from some people, anyone who listens, if we only one person just their life changes just from hearing this, then the work is done. Because the work, Rachel, is to change one person's life, one person at a time, you know, one person, because there is when there's light, when light for one person, the universe is lit. The earth is a better place. You guys do in the church, I know we do in over Christmas, we put off all the lights and then one candle is lit. And
Yes.
then we give you light the other person. And that's what I know in my head every day. If one person gets that, and their life is changed and lit, then the work is done because it means, and it's compounded. You know, one person, it will go to another person and another person, and then the whole world. And that's our work, is to serve people and bring light and love to the world.
Oh,
So that is what I'm doing today.
beautiful. And I love these conversations so much because I am changed. With every conversation that I have, I am
Mhm.
reminded, I am renewed, and
Yes,
I that's my hope for everyone who comes to these conversations is that
yes,
they have a shift as well,
yeah.
because it's not like we are experts and perfect at living a purposeful life.
No,
We are
we are
working at
working
it.
it. Yeah, we will. It will be experts when I don't even think, as long as we are living,
Yes.
we are growing and evolving, and we'll never be in a place where we're like, there's no more place for me to grow. You know, like to learn. They like that will be that will be a sad state. Then you don't need to be here anymore. But as we are learning, and every day you learn, and you're like, I'm learning. I'm learning. There's always a new layer to learn, to unfold.
Before you go, Dr. Zippy, I want to make sure people can connect with you and find your work on happiness. So I will make
Yes.
sure and link. You have a free call that you are offering so graciously, and we will link to that where people can sign up on your schedule to chat with
Yes.
you personally. So we will link to that. And where else can people connect with you at?
So thank you so much. I am on Insta as Dr. Zippy, Doc Zippy, and I'll give you the link. And I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So I'm pretty omnipresent, it seems. I'm all over in the
Wonderful.
social media. Yes, yes. I'll give you those links then.
Perfect. Make
Yes.
sure you connect with Dr. Zippy and her work. When I see her on my feed, she just brightens my day. So you
Thank
definitely
you.
want to connect with her and learn more about her work. I have loved this time with you. Thank you so much for your graciousness. And I remember the first time that I saw your face on video. I look forward to meeting you in person someday, Zippy.
Yes,
I would love that. But I remember seeing you on video and feeling that you were talking about, that feeling of like, oh, I feel that light. I feel a connection. I want to connect with this person. So thank you so much for showing up in the bright way you do. Thank you for bringing more happiness to this world and to me especially. I just appreciate you so much.
thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you for your work as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are ready to live your life with greater purpose and intention, check out my free Power of Vision workshop, where you'll uncover your life dream, eliminate doubt, and move forward toward your goals with confidence. Get instant access with the provided link. Your life is too precious to live just by chance or by default. I want you to live your life on purpose. I will see you next time.